easy on this side. So we're talking about juxtaposition, and on the second slide here I have the definition. So juxtaposition is the placement of two dissimilar things together to create a sense of contrast or to make a point. And so we're going to be doing both. One just for a sense of contrast, like we see here, and just to kind of have some fun with it. And on the second slide here, we're going to be doing it to make a point about some sort of issue or social issue, and just to kind of get across one idea with maybe two different perspectives together. And visually, as you guys can see with a lot of these examples, like we're really choosing images that flow into each other and line up either by shape or form. You know, if we looked at this example here with the bike, probably more shape than form. We got the circle. If we look at the ice cream cone, here we're talking about maybe more form than shape, something that's three-dimensional, as the light bulb takes on the form of like the swirling ice cream. And for this one, I mean, it doesn't really get across any idea other than just kind of having fun and matching up the form with two contrasting elements. Excuse me. So here's some examples of just having fun with it. I really like this one. I thought this one was really cool. The AirPod with the goose, and of course Mona Lisa Simpson. And just to kind of take a closer look, matching up form or shape, what I really want to see in your design is look at the edges. Look how they really flow into each other here. And even Lisa Simpson, even though we got like a 3D like with Mona Lisa and like kind of flat with Lisa Simpson, notice how the nose flows right into each other and the cheeks flow right into each other. So really about alignment and placement on here to really merge these two different images together. Okay. Some of these, if you look, the cropping completes the image. You can see that it's just a rectangle cropped Ferris wheel here with the cropped bicycle here, resized and positioned so they match up. As opposed to maybe here, we can see some background editing. You know, the rest of the diamond ring is gone and the background of the onion ring is gone, and they put in just a blue background there. Sorry about that. Take a look at that again. So we can do either or, and maybe a mixture of both. Like we see here, we can kind of see the image cut across, but they left the hands in there to kind of merge in with this image here, like she's holding her hand over her head. And then again here, where it's just kind of 50-50. No image really merges with each other. They're just lined up perfectly. Okay, so either or will work on this. Now, you might be asking yourself at this point, how are we going to do it, Mr. Bash? We don't have Photoshop. We don't have Illustrator. Well, someone brought to my attention this website called Photopea, which I will show you during this video how to use. And it works in your browser. And it could be a little bit slow depending. But I think it'll be suitable for us to make these images. That is, if we gather the right images that combine well with each other. It does work on a Chromebook, which is nice. So you don't really need a Mac computer or a desktop computer. It should work with your Chromebook pretty well. And just the last slide here. Just kind of looking at these images here. I thought this was a great idea. Great example is juxtaposition here. We're looking at juxtaposition in 3D, and we can see this wave of trash flowing into the wave, okay, bringing to our attention, pollution of the ocean. Then we got more of a advertisement, fall collection for Adidas, and so the leaves actually taking place of that logo, Adidas logo, and Tabasco bottle-ish type form on top of a pepper. And then Marlboro cigarette box flows right into the McDonald's fry. And then we have kind of a coffee cup, kind of bird's eye view of a clock. And so the point here is with graphic design is there's not a lot of words. We don't really have to explain what's going on. It's pretty evident and it's pretty strong of getting an idea across, as whether it be advertisement for Tabasco, emphasizing that it's spicy and it's hot and that's what the customer wants, or maybe it's an obesity ad, or some sort of health ad where French fries and fat and salt can be just as addicting as cigarettes. Or I don't know if this is an actual ad, but a lot of times when people drink, all the coffee drinkers, they that's the first thing they do when they wake up. That alarm bell rings and they want that cup of coffee. So it's just kind of illustrating that idea without saying so. So hopefully I'm really curious to see what types of ideas you guys come up with the social issue, and just kind of like the cool fun images you guys come up with, just the basic images, I guess, here. Okay, I'm making sure I'm not forgetting anything here. Just kind of looking at the social issue ones here. I think ideas are pretty evident, pollution for this one. Again, it looks like this edited background. Sorry, I don't know why my screens keep switching. More of a Photoshop version. I don't think we'll be able to do that with Photopea. And this guy I follow on Instagram, he does quite a lot, and I think he uses other people's photographs as what we're gonna use, but it's right down here if you guys want to look him up. It's Uger Gallon or Gayan. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, he does a lot of social issue ones, so that's a good place to start if you guys want some references there. And we can see one design, the matching up of the forms or shape, the walking of the people going from small to large, and we see that it flows really well that way. We see the contrast of dark versus light in the sky, and it even looks like this model right here, if you guys look really closely, it's actually looks like this girl from one image is holding the hand of the model from another, just to line up the form. I don't think to get across any idea, because I think they're supposed to be contrasting, but I mean, it looks really good. But I think the idea is there, really illustrating, get the overall idea of just movement in general, people walking. But we have on this side really high fashion and almost, rich versus poor, people that might have, a lot of money that goes into the fashion industry, which isn't really like, that high-end clothing isn't really essential. People pour in a lot of money to that, as opposed to people who really don't care about fashion. They're just worried about clothes on their backs, because they've been displaced by their homes. So it's really kind of a rich versus poor thing. And I think in this example over here, it's kind of have that idea of, I don't know, exploration, where one is on purpose. We're trying to explore space just because we have the extra means to and the resources, as opposed to exploration by being forced to do so. Again, being kind of displaced by either civil war or poverty. And within both of these images, design-wise, look how the forms really match up well. I mean, look at the top of the rockets, the back of the boats here. It's almost perfect. So hard part is searching for those photos that will get that across. And I think you'll get lucky either way. You might have an idea that you want to start off with and go, hell, okay, now I know what kind of pictures I want to look for. Or you're just going to be looking for images that might contrast each other, and maybe the idea will pop up. So you just have to kind of get in there and see what will happen. It's that creative process. You really don't know what's going to work just yet. Okay, so get into Photopea here. I'm going to type it up in my web browser, and it's just Photopea.com. And it'll pop up in your web browser. It's nothing that you guys need to download. And create a new document as we would in Photoshop. Be careful because it's going to show pixels right away. Inches is suitable. And I'm just going to do a square document, 10 by 10. I'll keep the DPI low, 72. We usually do 300. Maybe I'll change it to 300. Hopefully it doesn't mess with the processing. Hit create. There we go. So I'm going to do 2 different versions here. I'm not going to finish them all, but let's see how we work with this. So I'm going to do the social issue, and I thought of vaping. I remember seeing this ad comparing vaping to flavors, and that's kind of what helps get kids attracted to vaping. And this is the best picture I could find. It's not a young person. I would at least like to get someone in high school. It looks like it's kind of a older girl here, but still might work. And I'm just dragging this in. I'm holding shift to keep it proportional. Let's crop it off the page there. Make this a little bit smaller. Do it right about there. And so I chose this image because her holding her hand away from her face makes it suitable to actually put in a different picture in here. A lot of the vaping ones, they have their hand to their face, and I couldn't really cut through that unless I found something that would work. But I figured, I can have her hold something else. Just use that hand and keep that face in there. And she's also blowing out the smoke, so that works. All right, so that's set up. Couple things. When you drag in your photos, you get a smart object. So if you're going to edit at all any backgrounds, you guys have to right click and go to rasterize. That will allow you to erase the background. If you guys remember that from Photoshop earlier in the year. I'm going to bring in my second image, which is holding a popsicle. Good image, just the hand, clean background. I'm not going to erase the background. I'm just going to cut them in half. I'm going to rasterize this one. And to help line these up, I hit V. You'll notice that a lot of shortcut keys work in Photopea. A lot of them are the same as Photoshop, which is nice. And to line this up, I'm going to lower the opacity. That'll help me resize it and place it. And we'll hold shift while I make this bigger. And the tilting of the hand is a little awkward, but I think it actually works in the end because it's kind of like those old, you know, maybe advertisements with women holding cigarettes. They kind of have their wrists like kind of cocked back like that. And let's see, I think that might work. So you can see her hand still in the background, but we're going to cut this through. And I'm not going to go exactly halfway. I'm actually going to do it at an angle, which hopefully works. All right. You can see a little bit of lag time on here. And I'm working on a Mac, so I don't know if it's my internet. It's probably more internet than anything. All right, so in here you guys can use lasso. If you guys just want to cut angles or just straight lines, you guys can use either the marquee, rectangular marquee, or your polygonal lasso tool. And so I want to cut through kind of right here at the corner. There it is. And kind of cut through that space. Right through the hand. Oh, I want to cut through there. I don't want that part to show up. Go right outside, come all the way to the back. Now in Photoshop, that'll automatically load a selection once we kind of cross that over, but we gotta hit enter for this. And I don't want to delete the selection on the inside. I want to inverse that. So I'm going to hold shift, command, or control I. And you can see that's about to be deleted. I'm going to hit delete. Hit command D to deselect. Let's raise that opacity. We almost got there. I'm going to hit my arrow. And let's move this into position. Oh, her hand almost was showing up there. Ooh, just a little bit. You can see it right there peeking through. Might have messed this up a little bit. Okay. And I really want to line up these forms here. Come on. Pretty close. I probably could have done a little bit better, but for the sake of the video, I won't go back. But yeah, it looks like they line up pretty well. It looks like it could be her hand, and it gets the idea across fairly well. I think if she was a little bit younger, I think the idea would have come across a lot better. You know, getting kids kind of attached to vaping here. With that popsicle in here. All right, so again with that, just cutting and slicing using the polygonal lasso or your marquee selection should work there. And if just resizing and lining up, hopefully that works for you. So the other way of doing it for editing backgrounds, I'll make a new document here and then we'll finish up the video. We'll create that. And let's kind of look at maybe something with the background edited. Maybe something more like this. I don't know if it's two images that line up. The background of the trees might have been deleted. Or we might want to composite, or I guess the onion ring is a good example, you know. Obviously the background's deleted here and the ring is deleted so they can match up a little bit better that way. Or with the aspect of the hand here, yeah, you guys might want to composite some stuff. So I just brought in, you know, if you're compositing, might want to think about your background. Just a nice kind of glowy color background, as we see with a lot of those examples, and I'm just using my references to kind of help me with that. And let's say we got the AirPod and we're going to maybe composite that with the goose later on. Hold shift here. Just really quickly, again, smart object, you want to right click, hit rasterize. Now for editing here, we have magic wand and quick select, but my time thus far, those tools are, you know, they lag a lot. So what I would recommend is just a layer mask to hand edit, and hopefully you guys have a mouse to use. So to do a layer mask, select the layer, and you want to go to up at the top, layer, and you want to go to raster mask, and just hit add reveal all. And so that means it's going to keep the whole picture. If we hide all, that means it's going to fill it with black and everything's going to be gone. So either or, but reveal all is pretty much how we add a layer mask in Photoshop, and then we delete it with black. So again, you want to use your brush, which is right here. And if you're deleting the background, you probably want, you know, a little bit of softness. 80-90% works pretty well. All right, hit enter. And you can also use right and left bracket to resize your brush, just like in Photoshop. So you guys might naturally already do this already, which is nice. You know, hopefully you guys are really accustomed to using those shortcut keys. And you see that what we learned in Photoshop really applies to a lot of other programs. So hopefully that's beneficial for you guys. Something just happened. Log me out. Not good for the video. Let's try to do that really quick. One more time. Sure, we'll do that. And let's add this back in. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Let's rasterize that again, and let's go to layer, raster mask. Okay, let's get our brush. Lower the hardness a little bit, just a little soft edge. Back to the brush. Make sure you have black and white in your foreground colors. Let's zoom in. B for brush. Make sure we're in the layer mask here. There we go. Deleting the background. Looks pretty good. And just a little tip while we're here, corners and round brushes don't work well, but what I like to do is just kind of go through like that, hit X to switch back to white, and then reveal back for those corners. Best way you guys can hit corners there. Okay, so I'll just stop there. Hopefully that is enough for you guys to work, and I think you guys might be able to practice with some other stuff here and see how far you can actually push it with compositing, but that's up to you. I think we can keep the skills pretty minimal here to help us get to the final result. And again, these will be due next Monday before we get into something new. I'm really planning week to week because of, you know, not having the ability of Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. So if you guys want to send me any suggestions on what you guys would like to do next, please do so. Just email me. I also heard, I got some information that we might actually have access to Adobe through your student email. I still got to see how that's going to work, but more info on that next week as we move forward with this. But great to connect with you guys again, and I'm looking forward to seeing your projects, and I will talk to you guys next week.